Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me, I'm not feeling that well, but I want you to know about essay structure. What is correct essay structure? If you opened up the note sheet that I gave you, it looks like this, or else there's a page in your OneNote notebook that looks similar as well, entitled Writing Strategies. But I like to start here when I'm teaching essays because I think these shapes are very useful. So the first paragraph, that P with the little lines through it just means paragraph, of every essay is called an introduction. I think you know that. And this is represented here by an upside down triangle for a reason. Because in your introduction, you start broad. You are broadly introducing the topic of your essay. Right before that is your title, which is also kind of a broad introduction of your essay, but specific enough to be, typified in what you are writing. So every paragraph should have at least 5 sentences. So what an introduction has, it starts with a hook, which is the attention getter. It's called a hook because of fishing. You're trying to hook your reader, get your reader's attention. So some hooks that you can use in essays: you can ask a question as long as it's a question that makes sense. Like, since I am reading your essay, you wouldn't want to ask the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because obviously I already decided that. But you can ask a question just to get the reader thinking about what you're going to discuss in this essay. That's goals. You could quote something. If you're quoting something other than Sean Covey in 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, you'll have to cite that. Since I know that you are all using 7 Habits, you don't need to cite that separately. I have a template that I'll show you where I have it already. But in English class, when everyone's doing the same book, you don't need to cite it. So you're welcome to quote Sean Covey in 7 Habits with the page number. You could just say a general statement about goals just to start getting the reader thinking about that. But you start with a hook. Then what I call the rest of that paragraph until your thesis is tie-in. You are tying in the topic of your essay in terms of going from the hook, which is very broad, starting to get going from, I'll tape it down, the broad hook to the very specific thesis. So in this essay, you are talking broadly about goals, academic and personal goals, or about making a pledge or honoring that, the integrity of it, having an end in mind. If you want to talk about the 7 habits there, you're welcome to. But it is leading to your thesis, which is the 1 sentence main idea of your essay. And a thesis is very specific. It's specifically what you are talking about in this exact essay, what your main claim, argument, idea is. So your thesis will be about your 3 goals. So then that leads us to, let me just delete this so I have more room. Oh my goodness. Alright, fine. Paragraph 2 is a body paragraph, your first one, and that is symbolized here with a rectangle, just because the body paragraph doesn't get any more or less specific throughout it. It has some parts that are more or less specific, but overall you're just talking about one thing, so that's just a rectangle. So you start your first body paragraph, all your body paragraphs, with a topic sentence. This transitions from the paragraph before to this one and introduces the main idea of the paragraph. So overall, what are you trying to say in that paragraph? That's what you will put as the topic sentence. So you shouldn't be quoting anything there. It should be your own words. What's the main idea of the paragraph? How does it fit in with your thesis and the overall point of the paper? So that should be there. Then most of your body paragraph is support. This can be examples. if you're doing research, it can be research. You can quote Sean Covey here, talk about the 7 habits, just explain, how you're going to achieve that goal, what that will look like, and then you end each body paragraph with a "so what" sentence, which is why this topic matters. For this particular essay, that'll be why that goal matters, or how your life will be improved once you achieve it. So that's the end. And again, this is at least 5 sentences, just like every paragraph. So I'm not going to type out paragraph 3 and 4 since they are both body paragraphs, so they're doing the same thing. So the next paragraph, you'll start with the topic sentence, transition from the previous goal to this one, and think about that realistically in terms of how do those goals relate to each other. So your short-term to long-term academic goals should have a really easy transition to transition those ideas and parts of your life. The personal goal you'll have to think more about, and whether you want to put your personal goal as your first body paragraph or your last one. Your body paragraph should go in order from strong to stronger to strongest. That is more important when you have an argument, but you should still think about it. And then that leads us to your final paragraph, paragraph 5, or 6, 7, 8 if you have more than 3 body paragraphs, which would be fine. But your final one is a conclusion. This is a normal triangle because it starts specific. You restate your main points, thesis here. I'll also say you revisit. You do not want to copy and paste anything from your introduction or the prompt or your thesis, because your reader didn't forget what those things are. You're just kind of building up to your final powerful thought at the end of the essay, the most important part, the end of your conclusion. So you've already said these things, you just revisit that they exist. So you revisit those. Sometimes I write in other words, IOW, so you remember. And then I say here is tie in again. Since it is a triangle, you're starting to get more broad. So you are more broadly talking about your topic. And in particular, getting towards why this matters. So you can talk about your goals, but start to get more broad, about goals in general. And you end your entire essay with what's called a super so what, why the entire topic matters. So if each body paragraph ends in just a so what, why that one topic matters, then your conclusion ends with why the whole essay, the whole thing, why think about it, why care about why that matters. So you're building towards that thought there at the end. So this is basic essay structure. Again, body paragraphs, you have 3 of them. So now that you have learned this a little bit more, I want you to look at your benchmark essay and revise that to have an introduction, body paragraphs, conclusion, starting with a hook and tie-in, ending there with a thesis, having the topic, sentence, support, and so what's in your body paragraphs. In your conclusion, just restating the thesis, not copying and pasting it like many of you did, having tie-in and ending in a super so what. So please go ahead and do that. I'll talk more about this with you tomorrow, but for now, that's general essay structure.